Charlie did a video.
Twitch chat is a place where common sense and reasoning goes to die. At least for the most part. There is some unhinged chatters out there, and I swear to God, some of them aren't even like real people. They feel like figments of an imagination from your worst nightmare, or like lobotomy victims all spouting some nonsensical garbage that isn't even related to.
Is this me? He's talking about me, right? Twitch chat ruined his life. That's me for real.
What's happening in the stream. But now I'd like to introduce you to the final boss of unhinged Twitch chatter. This guy. Danny sent me this today, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this, which is surprising, because this is one of those, like, weirder stories that I feel people would be talking about.
Yeah, he hasn't because he doesn't watch me, okay? He doesn't watch me, and that's what it is.
Out from Twitch. So this guy made a statement in an unnamed streamer's chat claiming that he was about to go kill some people in a mass shooting, and then he got arrested for it because the chatters warned the FBI, and they actually acted on it. So he said that mass murder was coming soon in the Twitch chat, and then they actually showed up and arrested this man, and he's now about to face some serious repercussions for this. This is also, surprisingly, like the first time I feel the FBI's ever acted on something like this. I can't remember which mass shooter it was, but one of the mass shooters had made a statement similar to this in a YouTube stream, and the FBI was tipped off about it. And they had already like identified that guy as a person of interest, and they still didn't act on it, and he actually did follow through and kill people.
I started producing through your waiting room, guy. You were always helpful to people during their political hysteria. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even understand what that means.
People, what mass shooter was that? Does anyone remember? Was it Nicholas Cruz? It might have been. But yeah, so I think this is a good thing.
I tried to figure out what this dude's username was, but I couldn't.
Happy to hear that they took action about that. 100%. With everything that's been going on, this is a fat W. Huge L for this fucking loser, but like a big W for law enforcement. I'm glad they finally bothered to take any level of proactive action here, for sure. Now, when he was apprehended and questioned by authorities, he admitted that the account was his and that the comments were stupid, saying that he was in a dark place, kind of similar to like a YouTuber apology video, honestly. He was saying like he was depressed, intoxicated, and he was recently going through a loss in the family, so he made those comments, which isn't a justification at all for what he said. Like, it's sad to hear that he was going through such tough shit, but that doesn't at all excuse these kind of threats. And I do consider these threats now. This isn't just like nonsensical hoopla tossed out there. I no longer view it as it's just a prank, bro. It's just me goofing around being a little silly, threatening some mass murder. When there have been so many mass shootings, and like I mentioned in the stream, one case just like this where someone made a very similar threat and then followed through on it shortly thereafter. And you see so many times, like almost every time there's a mass shooter, the authorities come out and they're like, yeah, we actually knew that this guy was a threat. We also knew about the things he was saying online. Like, we actually even had him in our custody for a little while. And we gave him a fist bump and told him, like, you know, it's all good now. We looked into your eyes, into the window.
I mean, that is literally what the FBI does half the fucking time.
Because of your soul, and we decided you probably won't do it. And then he did it, so we were kind of shocked and almost betrayed that he did it. But yeah, we knew, like, all of these details. And then you always like are left scratching your head like, well, why didn't you act on it? Like, maybe get guns away from that person or something. So even if this guy wasn't a legitimate threat, he wasn't some Gotham villain about to poison the water supply or start spouting riddles off to Batman, it's still good, and I view it as a very positive thing that the authorities went to investigate, to confirm whether or not this...
Yeah, what the fuck was going on? Were they having like an off day or something? Like, I'm legitimately surprised that they acted on this. Like, unironically. Okay, it is surprising. It is the rarest, the absolute rarest FBIW. Okay, like incredibly rare, like once in a lifetime. Okay,
this individual had plans to harm himself or others. I'm glad it wasn't a threat that was taken lightly or falling on deaf ears, just because I don't think there's any reason to take that chance anymore when something just like this happened and did lead to a lot of innocent deaths. So I do think this is a good thing, but I have seen a lot of people making the slippery slope argument about, well, if everyone's chats are being policed and you can be arrested for things you say anonymously in a chat.
Bro, you can be you should be. Like, what do you mean? If you went into a fucking crowded theater and were like, I'm going to shoot this theater up or some shit, if you fucking said that, you would be arrested. Like, yeah, well, what do you mean? Don't do fucking mass shooting threats. What the fuck?
Chat room, that could lead to a lot of other things where people are getting punished for really minor offenses. And I can kind of see where that stance is coming from, that perspective, because, for example, E-Rob, who's a Twitch streamer, nay, that's doing him a disservice. He's more than a streamer. He's a goddamn icon. E-Rob made a joke with one of his viewers in his offline Twitch chat about beating him up at TwitchCon. It was just a threat made in jest between two people that knew each other, and E-Rob got reported for it in the offline chat, and Twitch banned him for a whole month because of that threat, even though it was just a joke. And they didn't fall back on the ban. He spent the entire time in the slammer, in purgatory, unable to stream, all because he made that joke that was taken to the principal's office by the hall monitor, and he was unjustly disciplined for it. So I can see why people would then take this situation where this man was arrested after his threats and blow it up to a bigger scale where if this is more commonplace, who's to say authorities won't start just striking people down for really small things without looking at like the bigger context or even bothering to see if they were joking or whatever. Like I do kind of understand where that's coming from, but I still think at the end of the day, it'd be very dangerous and stupid to ignore threats like this guy was making. Multiple threats about mass murder coming soon, killing 20 people, shit like that. He made himself sound like he was just going to be fucking piling up corpses in the street. Like that is something that I don't think should be taken lightly and shouldn't be ignored. So I am happy they stepped in for that. So I do hope they continue to take threats like this seriously because it could very well prevent a tragedy. This isn't the only time a mass shooter has advertised their upcoming crimes. And while this guy may not have had any plans to do it, some of the other ones have and have followed through on it, and authorities didn't act until it was too late. Now this does bring me to an extremely...
Wait, what the fuck? That is the guy I unbanned today. I'm sorry for what I said. I won't do it again. I'd like to thank the mods or Hassan for giving me a chance. I won't mess it up. Thank you, my lord. I don't get how they can be criminally liable. 1.32 ETH is thousands of dollars. He got us hook, line, and sinker. Common Charlie W. Chat purge inbound. I will not ban you again if you admit that that was your sock account. Why are you a suspicious user? I'm so sorry. I drink too much sometimes. I'll get help. Bro, what the fuck? You were drinking at 4 p.m. in the afternoon? They are sus because I mark people that when they're being weird. As alcoholic drinking hours, in Chowder's defense, I'm a brewer, so I drink all day long. You drink canned beer in the morning every stream? What? No, I don't. It's pretty funny to think that I'm just fucking blasted at 11 a.m.
Important point to mention with this whole subject, and that's the curious...
It's almost like a weird self-report from a chatter who's like, bro, there ain't no way you're fucking dealing with us psychos without being fucking inebriated in some way.
This case of Josh Palault, whom I've made a video on and who's been on our podcast twice now because his situation was so unique and fascinating and just at times downright diabolical. This shit grabs your nipples and fucking titty twisters them. Like his whole case, his situation and everything is unreal to believe that it actually happened. And it's very similar to what we're talking about right now. Josh, quite a long time ago while playing RuneScape and drinking, made a threat on the game about a school shooting. You know, don't go to school the next day, that kind of thing. And the Jagex, the company behind RuneScape, the developers, got tipped off to what Josh had said, and they forwarded that information to the authorities. So then
To be fair, I would jail most RuneScape players just because. You know what I mean? Let the criminal justice system sort it out. You know what I mean? If you're a fucking RuneScape player, you're going to jail, dog. Sorry. Cake Boss 16, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
the authorities scoot in sideways, kick down the door, throw the cuffs on him, and then absolutely steam his fucking ham. He received 6 years in prison. This was not a light sentence by any means. 6 full years, which he served the entire term of, because they determined that they had reason to believe he was like an actual possible threat. And I'm not going to get into like the actual nitty-gritty of the case, but with all of the information out there, it feels like it was an extreme case of corruption here that led to him receiving a 6-year punishment. He was a kid who was drinking and saying some stupid, edgy shit online, and it doesn't seem like there was any real evidence to suggest that he was going to go out and hurt people or do anything horrible. That he was just making those shitty, edgy threats. Now, I do think it was right that they stepped in to investigate, just to be sure and just to be safe. But then after they go through the whole song and dance of the investigation, they should have reached the conclusion that this is just an edgy troll. And yes, of course, get slapped with some kind of penalty or charge about making like ridiculous threats online. That's completely fine and understandable. But 6 years because they viewed him like a fucking terrorist made no sense. So I do think
It is pretty fucking wild, not gonna lie. I mean, God, our fucking criminal justice system is so cooked, dude. 6 years is pretty wild. Like, don't let him fucking play RuneScape ever again. You know what I mean? Like, punish him like that. Which, ironically, will be, like, good for him regardless. You know what I mean? That would literally rehabilitate him. You know what I mean? Like, not allowing him to play RuneScape ever again, and then all of a sudden he becomes, like, a productive member of society. I would rather die, says the chatter. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
with a case like what we were talking about today initially, and comparing it to Josh Palalt's case, I do think that there is a level that needs to be had from the authorities where they take these threats seriously, but then they also have to be fair with the investigation, where if they determine it's just some edgy asshole with no real or imminent threat to the people around them, well then charge them for the threats, but don't go the extra mile with this vendetta, this grudge against them where you just want to see them behind bars forever. Now in the case that we're talking about today with the Twitch chatter who made these threats of mass murder, he's currently facing charges of written threats to kill or do bodily harm. Now, that seems to fit the crime. That seems like a punishment that fits the crime. That's exactly what he did. They determined he didn't have any...
No, you're wrong, though. If they determine it's just a white kid from the suburbs, they give him a slap on the wrist. That kid was a white kid from the suburbs. They hit him with a fucking 6-year
firearms, and they seem confident that he was never actually going to carry out these things. Thus, he's just being charged with the threats of doing these things as opposed to, like, the potential act of doing them. So... I think that overall this whole thing is a good thing from the authorities. It doesn't seem like they're making the same mistake they made with Josh Palalt here, where they try and throw the whole book at him, just get the whole kit and caboodle tossed his way. It seems like they know very much what's happening here. They took it seriously, and they're pursuing charges that I think are appropriate for what they've done. Now, I just wanted to talk about this situation because I thought this was a pretty important one. Again, if this was a very...
To be fair, though, yeah, this is the one, as Chatter said, this is the one case where being white makes it more likely. Like, literally, this is the one instance in the eyes of the criminal justice system where they were like, well, he is a white kid, so can't take that risk, you know? This is, he does fit the profile of a fucking school shooter. He plays RuneScape. He said he was going to do a school shooting. We can't make, we cannot take our chances with this one, okay? Oh, no. I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I get the kiss yourself stuff, like, it can feel like kind of cathartic to say that sometimes to people, right? But like, I don't understand the whole like shooting up a school meme. Like, how was that? Like, what the fuck? Like, when you tell someone to kiss themselves, okay, you're like directly identifying who the responsible party is, and you're telling them to, kiss themselves. Whereas like when you want to redirect your anger to like an entire school of people who are completely oblivious to your fucking weirdo behavior, like, why? Like, I just don't understand it. It's like very American. It's a very uniquely American thing to just like shoot up your school or shoot up your fucking place of work and just get upset at like random motherfuckers that are completely unrelated to the genuine problems that you're facing in your life.
The unwell individual who was going to carry out something terrible like this, then this would have absolutely just saved lives. And regardless, I think it is still a good precedent to set where you shouldn't be making these kind of stupid, reckless, dangerous threats online in the first.
Literally, motherfuckers are out here on the internet thinking that at the top of the hour there isn't a 3-minute ad break. Like, that's reckless, okay? You should always stay strapped against the top of the hour ad break by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Put it on your favorite broadcaster, the one with the best segues, you know what I mean? You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky, you know what I'm saying? And not many are, but hey, listen. Park Chung with the 10 gifted subs. Cake Boss with the 2 gifted subs. Allowing 12 people to no longer see the fucking ads at the top of the goddamn hour. Okay, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Stay strapped, baby. Stay strapped. Like this video, please subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.